ask a question. What do these things have in common? The food on your table, your ambitions, the transport you take, your profession, the media you consume, the song you're listening to right now, the air that you breathe, the water that you drink, even silence. I'll give you some time. All of these things are political. Politics seems like something like law or business or arts or science. It seems like a field that someone only gets into if it's their field, if they're interested in it. That's a misconception. I don't think people understand that politics is embedded into every single thing within our lives. But the difference here that you all may be actually thinking about is, why am I supposed to be political if the elected leaders who are in politics, they're supposed to do their job? Why am I supposed to be political? And I understand. I mean, I also think about this every day. Like, the leaders who are in politics should be doing their job. They should be taking care of the people. You know, they work for the people. But when we are in such a time of such unrest, I think we have no choice but to be active in our protests. We need to join protests, and we need to actively fight for peace. And it's not an option, by the way. This is something we kind of have to do now that we're at this stage, given all the events that are happening in the world right now. I'm not saying that this is how humans should be 24/7. I'm saying, given that so many wars are occurring right now, so many governments are corrupt and failing, and of course our planet is dying, so there's a lot of things that, honestly, whether you're political or apolitical, I'm sure you just want, I don't know, good things for you and your family, or you and your friends, or you and your loved ones. Or maybe you don't, I don't know, maybe you're fucking weird. So I was watching this video I saw on Instagram of Greta Thunberg speaking, and I'll just put it right here so you can watch.
To be hopeful, to feel hope in this world when I'm too heartbroken about the state of the world. Everything is falling apart. The world is literally on fire. We are systematically destroying the life-supporting systems that our civilization is built upon, and we are fundamentally reprogramming what it means to be human. There are no longer words in any language to describe the slaughtering of our fellow humans, of other species, of the biosphere we depend on to survive. And there are no words to describe the war criminals who are causing this. And we know who these people are. I'm all about peace and love, trust me, but we are beyond that point now. We can no longer ask nicely to the people in charge to do what should be fucking common sense. And while we are talking about peace, peace is no longer something we can take for granted. Peace is not passive, peace is active, and Irish people know that very well. So all I can ask of you is to go out and create the hope, create the change you want to see in the world. Someone has got to do something, and you are someone. That's how I got into activism. It's okay to feel heartbroken and terrified about the state of the world. I do that every day. But being brave is not the absence of fear or despair. It's about choosing to do it anyway, choosing to demand and fight for justice even when the odds are not in your favor. And honestly, there is no other option. Are we supposed to give up? Everything and everyone we love is at stake. So there is no alternative. We just have to suck it up and be adult enough to face the truth and do everything in our power to change it, but we can only do that together. So look to the people next to you and say, these are the ones I'm going to fight this fight with. And unfortunately, this is only the beginning. So yeah, I'm not gonna end with a hopeful message, because that has to come from you.
But basically, she's saying that we have no choice at this point but to stand up, but to actively fight for peace, but to actively fight for our basic human rights. And in order for me to get this to you, whether you're apolitical or political, if you have not been participating in active efforts to change your government, given your government's corrupt, or given your government's not doing something that's supposed to be done for your people, this is why I made this video. And by the way, I know a ton of people in my life who are political but will still not actively rally, will still not actively participate in protests or whatever active participation looks like for you. They would not do that. And I understand that there's a fear barrier from, you know, violence and abuse, from unfair power dynamics from the government or your police that could beat you up, and I mean, it's horrible. It is horrible. But there are other ways you can actively participate. There are petitions, there are movements you can join. You can spread awareness and education if you don't want to physically like put yourself out, if you're scared. It's really hard because even I myself want to go protest, but I'm scared. But I do it anyway. It's up to you to make that decision, honestly, but I'll tell you why Greta Thunberg is saying we have no choice at all at this point if we want to see change. So in order for me to get to my point, I need to tell you about what I've learned from being in a really difficult situation twice in my life. I was severely depressed. I had no access to education or a job. I was under severe financial and emotional and narcissistic abuse. My depression was caused based out of the situation I was placed in. Just like how millions of people who are impoverished, marginalized, are depressed, but not just depressed, so many other basic rights are taken away from them because of the situation they are placed in, because of the government. Like, zero support from family, I didn't have any education or a job, and so life felt pretty awful. Just like how life feels awful for the millions of people who aren't helped by the government in the slightest bit. Just to remind you, a government is supposed to provide you with basic human rights: free healthcare, free housing, free childcare, free... what else did I not mention? Education? Yeah. All those things. How am I still here today? How am I thriving? I have since been able to do well in school, in my university. I've been able to get good grades, which is like a really big thing for someone who really wanted to like end their life. So I've faced a lot of difficulties, yet I'm still able, you know, I've still achieved a lot. I have become the vice president of an organization in my university. Recently just finished an internship at a clinical laboratory that was very selective, very competitive to get into. Yeah, and of course I've started this YouTube channel. My main point being that because I took action in my life, in the hardest periods of my life, and was able to achieve whatever I just mentioned, we as a people also need to be able to take a really difficult time, find ways to work together, put in action rather than just be aware. Being aware is the first step, it's really good, but we also have to take action in order to reap the benefits that I reaped. But mine was on an individual level, and I'm just giving you like a story of my life, but it has parallels to how a society functions, because at the end of the day, my situation was still me fighting against a power dynamic, and we, the people, are also fighting against an unfair power dynamic. How did I take those steps to actually start thriving and achieving all those things that I achieved? I started to, first of all, drop the concept of someone has to be there to help me. For the longest time, I thought I needed my parents or some family member or some adult figure to help me in order for me to progress in life. And while that is ideal, just like we want the government to help the people and provide the people with what they deserve, it's just not happening. And so when you have no other figure of power to rely on, we the people have no other figure of power to rely on, just like I had no other figure of power to rely on, what do? I decided to take action. I decided, okay, I need to start finding ways to make money. I need to build a strong circle. And a key thing with depression is depression can often be characterized by a lot of inaction. So you'd be sleeping on your bed 12 hours a day. What I had to push myself to do is to do things like, let's say, exercise. I just told myself I had to go on a 5-minute run every day and walk my dog every day. That's it. Every day. I just had to do those things in order for me to just feel a little better. And it worked. It was very slow, the process. It took, I would say, around half a year to finally get better, because I kept adding habits, good habits, on top of each other. So with exercise, my mood stabilized, and there's a lot of biological factors with that. My mood stabilized, but I hated every second of the resistance in order to get out of the house and go exercise. I hated it. Hated. Just like how we hate to be seen as political. Just like how we hate to get past that resistance, because there is just so much friction to easily put ourselves out there saying, I'm actually someone who does care about these things, and I actually am political. Because when you do say that, and I am saying it now on a public platform, I'm gonna get people who are gonna say, oh, you're doing too much, why are you suddenly political? But this is just who I've always been. It's just that I'm finally speaking up about it. I'm finally doing what I want to do, which is spread awareness on this stuff. So I would encourage you to go past that resistance. Do it even if you're scared, because you will reap benefits. I almost forgot to give you modern day examples of what benefits we reap as a society when we elect good officials and when the people come together to take down corrupt officials. First, let's look at India. So if you don't know what's been happening in India, TLDR, the now ex-education minister was responsible for a lot of shit, but basically medical exam papers had been leaking, and if you were rich, you as a medical student could buy your answers to the paper, get in to top medical colleges, while people who take this exam who don't have money, who are impoverished, usually take this medical exam in hopes of becoming a doctor to get their family out of poverty. So this obviously just continued the cycle of corruption even more, these paper leaks, and the government, the education minister, did nothing about it. To the point that, I don't know if it was him or someone else, but I think it was him, he called the people, the students, cockroaches. And so a huge movement started called the Cockroach Janata Party, which is a mock-up of the Bharat Janata Party, which is the government political party. I don't know, it was so monumental when I found out that, because they had been protesting from, I think, May to July, and in July, the education minister actually fucking resigned. And this was not something anybody expected, okay? People were going out in the streets without expecting any outcome. You don't expect a certain outcome from a government that is completely corrupt and screwed. So the fact that this even happened was monumental. And while, unfortunately, the now ex-education minister is replaced with someone just as fucking stupid as him, while it's still disappointing and the government is still shit, and it's the whole system at its root, at its core, that is corrupt, despite all of what we have to fix, this was a really big movement, because I will put it on the screen, like a really big percentage of the population, around this much percent, went out on the streets. And I think there was this theory that I saw someone explain, which was, I think you only need 3% of the population to go out, protest, to create systemic change, or to create some sort of revolution, to enact change. You only need 3% of the population. We think that we need 100% of the population to be rallying out on the streets. Girl, the fact that we need just 3% just goes to show how powerful people power is. You can also look up the people power movement in EDSA in the Philippines. But giving you another current day example, let's look at Mamdani. Mamdani was elected the mayor of New York City thanks to the people power, thanks to the people believing in his advocacy for giving people better conditions, especially for the working class people. That is his main focus, because like if you look at AOC, Mamdani, Bernie Sanders, these people are socialists. They care about the working class's rights. Like, everybody should. Because we're all part of the working class. Unless you're like a billionaire watching this. Which if you are, why the fuck are you not doing anything about this? So Mamdani, he is a great example of enacting change and reaping the benefits. Because you can see how much Mamdani has changed in such a short amount of time for New York City, that it leaves no excuse for politicians to be like, oh, we can't do this in this amount of time. It can be done. No one has just done it. No one wanted to fucking put in the fucking effort. So, your vote really matters. It sounds like I'm sponsored. I am not. I just want basic rights. For me, for my loved ones, and for everyone. Like, that's it. So, your say matters. You are a part of the system, and I'm genuinely putting this video out because you have an influence. You're just one person, and one person adds up to 10 people, 10 people adds up to 100 people, so on and so forth. Systemic change is not some hypothetical theory. It's been proven countless times, again and again, in various historical records. It's the reason why we actually have a lot of benefits that we have today. So you can go into the whole history of these things, but the reason we have weekends is because people decided we needed like rest days. But the reason we have any good things left for us in society, as people, as working people, is because of people before us who fought for these rights. So it would be fucking futile if we didn't fight for these rights again. And as in, like, to the point that I wanted to cry, to the point that I would be like, I want to kill myself again, but I still do it anyway because I only have one life, and it's like, okay, I could just die right now, but I kind of want to see what happens if I try. And so I was like, let's just see what happens if I try. And I'm here. I am doing so well right now, and it's all thanks to me. Just like how we could all be proud of ourselves if we came together, organized something in a smart way to just get what we deserve. You know, we're not really trying to do anything evil. We all are just trying to get our basic rights back. We're all just advocating for peace. Is that so bad? So once you think, oh, I can't be political because I'm rebelling against the government, like, you're just fighting for what everybody deserves. You're fighting for the bare minimum, girl. Like, you're not actually rebelling. We think that we are, because that's what society has taught us. If you don't want to label yourself as political, do you want to call yourself someone who's actively participating to fight for the people's rights? Because that's essentially what it is. Do you want to fight for, I don't know, your family to have better health care? Do you want better water, food, air, like, you know, education? Like, everything is connected to politics, whether you want to call it politics or not. Anyway, my main point being that anyone in a power dynamic or a very difficult situation, if you read books, if you hear about people's stories, whether it's politics or an individual person versus their family or society or whatever, in order for someone or some group to achieve their basic rights when no one's able to help them or no entity is able to help them, there always has to be some sort of really uncomfortable push that has to come from the victimized themselves. There is no other way, or else the other option is just you die, you lose, and I mean, you could do that, but I'm saying if you have an ounce of hope, if you want to change things, it's time we stop, especially for those who are apolitical and for those who don't actively participate in any political thing. It's time to stop believing that someone else is going to do the job for us. I know that's how it's supposed to be. I know that is what people are supposed to do. That's what elected officials are supposed to do. But unless you want change with how things are going now, there is no other way than to start actively participating and helping. And you don't have to do everything all at once. This is really important. Start really small. Start really small. Just start with your city. Just start with your village or wherever you are. You know, just start helping what matters most to your vicinity, your circle. And only then you can build outward. Of course, you can still donate to international causes. Like let's say you're not Palestinian like me, but I really want to help Palestine. I will go to like Instagram pages of people who provide donations to people in Palestine. They usually post reels on that stuff, so I'm going to interact with their posts as much as possible, hit all the buttons, and if they have like a donation page, I will donate if that influencer is transparent about the funds given to the person. They provide screenshots, stuff like that. So that's like something I do. And you know, I'm a student, I'm broke myself, I give the tiniest bit, because if everyone gave the tiniest bit possible, that person in need of help will be helped. So I do this for things I care about, tiny little things. I do it for the animals in my city. But besides providing donations, I always educate, I repost, I spread awareness, and that's the most powerful thing we can do, and me making this video is a form of that. Anyway, I've been rambling on for quite a bit, but I hope this helped place some perspective into someone, even just one person. That would be really great, as to why being political really matters now, and why dropping the idea of someone needs to help us, why getting rid of that idea is quite crucial if we want to see change. Maybe I can post another video on how to actually enact change, because this video was more on just shifting your mindset into believing, or sort of just understanding what we need to do right now, and changing our expectations of what we have to do. Thank you for watching.